Welcome back to another episode of Brothers Blockbusters, sibling-hosted Average Joe podcast, where each week we discuss the biggest movie and TV news and review the latest releases so you don't have to. I'm your co-host Elliot alongside my brother Eric. And today we're going to cover, again, more news from the Batman Part 2, a new trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which comes out the end of next month, a new Grinch live-action movie, and then reviewing the Steven Spielberg newest sci-fi film, Disclosure Day. All right, man. You ready to get into it again?
Leading off with the Batman Part 2. Are you kidding me? It's a heck of a way to enter the intro of the podcast. Episode 8.
Episode 8. So this week in Hollywood, we'll lead off, yes, with the Batman Part 2. There are rumors that the first trailer is going to release sometime in December to play in front of Doom Part 3, which is in IMAX. I think you sent me this earlier this week from Global Box Office.
Yeah, earlier this week, we talked about Batman Part 2 is going to be starting to film now, so you're going to start to see more and more stuff come out. And like I think we talked about it actually last week. You know, you said when the first Batman came out, they kind of dropped like a teaser trailer, an actual full-length trailer around that time, like 6 months after filming. And we kind of we mentioned it last week. Hey, you might see something in October, November, maybe even December area, and looks like that's what's tracking.
I mean, we're like 6 months away, so yeah, I guess that adds up. But like you mentioned, like I just want to get to this now. And unfortunately, there's no video or actual footage of them to show, so I guess we'll just have to wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be awesome. I know we're both excited for Dune Part 3, and that's probably going to be a fantastic movie, and I will go see it because of the movie, but I also might just go see it so I can see the Batman trailer twice.
That was a big thing with, I believe it was Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Like, because I was in the late 90s, before we had social media and YouTube was releasing trailers, I think people were going into, I don't remember what the movies were coming out then, but we're going just to see the Phantom Menace trailer and then just getting up and leaving.
They just get up and leave. That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
so buy a ticket to go see the movie and then just because you wanted to see the trailer so bad.
I mean, it makes sense now if you have A-list, right? You get 4 movies a week. If you know you're not going to see 4 movies a week and you just want to go see a trailer, I mean, more power to you. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's going to be perfect. I mean, that's going to be right before Christmas. You get Dune, you get Avengers, and then you get a Batman Part 2 trailer. I mean, I know what we're going to be talking about on the pod that week.
Yeah, there will be a lot.
Quickly, I wanted to go back, touch on more Batman Part 2 stuff.
Okay. What do we got? What do you got for me?
So we talked the last couple weeks about Sebastian Stan and his potential role in this Part 2. And it seems that we might have, and those rumors might have jumped the gun. There's something coming from the insider from Discussing Film on X. It's rumored that he's actually, he's rumored to be playing Victor Zsasz in the Batman Part 2, and Brian Tyree Henry is rumored to be playing Harvey Dent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I did a little bit of research on Victor Zsasz. Victor Zsasz is a psychopathic serial killer in DC Comics, known for carving a tally mark into his own skin for each victim he murders, believing life is meaningless and he is freeing people from it. Originally, he was a wealthy businessman, lost everything gambling, and after a near-suicide experience, decided to kill, seeing it as a way to liberate others from their pointless existence. And he's a frequent inmate at Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
And a recurring foe of Batman. And thinking about Sebastian Stan, right, we talked about how he could do that dual role of being Two-Face, also being Harvey Dent. But it seems here, being someone who's a psychopathic killer, but also being like a former wealthy businessman who had a gambling addiction. Right. I feel like that's right up Sebastian Stan's alley.
Yeah. And he had that quote, like he's trying, I don't know, different makeup, different faces, whatever. I mean, it sounds like he was thrown off the scent because you immediately think of Harvey Dent, and he looks like like a Harvey Dent, but this might actually be the role for him. And it does add up with what he was saying. Yeah.
I mean, based on just quick Google images of previous Victor Zsasz actors and characters in comic books, I think that could be a very, very intriguing role that I see him playing. And then obviously Brian Tyree Henry's Harvey Dent. I mean, that's seeing him. I don't think we ever seen him in like that villain type role, right? So seeing him play Harvey Dent, but maybe you're going to get more of how he became Two-Face. I think that's going to be, I don't know. I mean, the casting already, Matt Reeves knows what he's doing, right? You've seen it you saw it in the first film. And if this film is anything like its predecessor with how the cast just came together as one, I think this is going to be quite frankly, electric.
Quite frankly, electric. Yeah, no, 100%. And Brian Tyree Henry seems like one of those guys who you could look at, he's smiling at you and it looks genuine, and then he just like smiles and then just like straight face, like literally two-face. But yeah, that could be interesting. Again, not who we expected, but again, like you said, trust the process.
I mean, because everyone kind of was, like we said, everyone was kind of like, oh, Robert Pattinson is Batman. Okay. This guy played a vampire in Twilight. And then look what he did with that role. I mean, it's fantastic. So, and I know I say fantastic a lot on this podcast. So I think that's my word. So I'm going to keep
So I'm essentially, and you are fantastic.
Fantastic. Yes.
Essentially fantastic.
So,
okay.
So yeah, what do you have next? I know you were getting into it as soon as I kind of cut you off.
Spider-Man, brand new day, a new trailer drop for it just today as we're recording, or earlier today. This movie comes out at the end of July, so we still have about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. And when the trailer drops, so did tickets for this movie. So
interesting.
You can snag those up now if you want. Still trying to think about when we want to go see it. Probably the Saturday it comes out. I mean, I used to do Thursday night, the 7 p.m. showing it.
Yeah, those are the best.
IMAX, which again, there's still opportunity for that for the other movies, but I think just based on our timeline and our situation, I think Saturday is probably the best. But
do you want to see an IMAX? You want to do like a Dolby route? Because I know, like, look, they're both great. We're spoiled. The Dolby seats are so much
not the recliners or anything.
No,
they're just the classic seats. Yeah, and we have the Live Max, was what they're called, the Live Max screens, in at least our area. But new trailer came out today. Seems like, again, there wasn't too much more than what they've shown, but we did see the Hulk.
Yeah,
it doesn't look as green as he used to. I know originally in the comics he was gray, but I want to say it turned to green because the way it came out in the comics, it didn't look very good, like printed.
Sure.
Yeah. So we see Bruce Banner. We see, again, more Spider-Man kind of like mutating.
Yeah,
his eyes are completely black.
Yeah.
Like he's starting to shoot. I think he has like his own web shooters now. Like it's not coming out of his
suit
or whatever he creates for it. It's like naturally occurring. So anything stick out aside from that in that trailer? I don't think.
No, I mean, I think it added on to the trailers we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it feels, and you and I touched on it a while back, it feels very more Daredevil street level Spider-Man, which I know people have been clamoring for.
Yeah. Yep.
Instead of, like a lot of Tom Holland stuff is like him saving the world or him doing stuff to like save the planet. This is going to be more like street level shit that Spider-Man is accustomed to doing, like just stopping crime in the city. And I think visually it looks awesome. It's like they're doing a good job, and that's what we talked about with movie trailers. You want to see a trailer, and we'll get into a disclosure day. You want to have a trailer that doesn't give everything away, but gives you enough to get you interested. And I can't tell you, like, I have an idea of what this Spider-Man movie is going to be about, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. But the trailer's giving you enough content where you're just like, holy crap, this looks incredible. Spider-Man's got black eyes. He's mutating. The Hulk's in it. Are him and the Hulk actually friends? Are they going to fight?
Mm-hmm.
The Punisher's in there. And then obviously Sadie Sink's going to be in this movie. So it's like, and then, you saw scenes with him and MJ, like swinging on his, not vines, but you know what I mean? I'm excited. I think this could be I'm not going to say not just based on a trailer, but I feel like this could be the best Spider-Man movie we've seen with Tom Holland.
Yeah, it seems like it's, like you said, more street level. He's not saving the planet in this one. At least that's not, what we think he's doing. There seems to be more of him like slinging around the city, like what we expect out of Spider-Man. Also, I noticed he had mentioned Peter Parker, Tom Holland mentioned in the trailer, like, I think there was like 3 years had passed or almost 4 years since the end of this last movie. Because I think they're getting ready to graduate from MIT.
Yep.
Ned and MJ. So there's some time that's passed. So I'm sure we'll get like either a montage or we'll get some scenes of him battling different, ground level, street level villains. But I am curious though with like Sadie Sink's character, because the trailer makes it come off as her being the villain of the movie, but I don't think she's going to be. And there's rumors that she's going to be Jean Grey, which is very popular X-Men, which she can, mind reading and stuff like that. But there's still enough mystery where I think they have some stuff up their sleeve.
Well, it's kind of like in Thunderbolts, right? What was Lewis Pullman was? Oh my God, I'm blanking on his character.
The Sentry.
Yeah. It's like in the trailer, you seem like he's like this bad guy villain, like he's the worst villain ever imaginable. But then when you like actually see the movie, was he the villain? I mean, I guess a little bit, but it wasn't what it was made out to be based on what you saw in the trailer. So who knows what her role is going to be? But I'm interested just because you see the scenes with him and Ned and MJ, and it seems like where does that take place in the movie? Is it early on? Is it later? And it's kind of cool to hear them acknowledge like obviously he said like yeah it's 3 or 4 years since then they're graduating, and I think there was like towards the end of the trailer where he's getting ready to fight a bunch of dudes. And he said, I got to stretch. He goes, I'm not in college anymore. I'm older. So it's like, it's kind of cool that they recognize like they're not trying to portray him as still like a high schooler being,
He's
Tom
grown up
Holland
a
being
little bit.
older.
Yeah.
He's grown up a little bit, which again is normal because he's a human being. Human beings are going to age. So I like that part. Interested to see Frank, Punisher, what his role is going to be in this movie, if he's going to have a big role, smaller role, and what other characters we see. Are we going to see any other Avengers come in there besides obviously the Hulk?
I do think Daredevil's in it. I think Matt Murdock's in it. He's been asked about it because, again, this is ground level, street level, New York City, and he was in the last Spider-Man movie, albeit, very briefly, but I think this sets up for him, and especially because, and I won't spoil the end of Daredevil, but he's in a weird predicament at the end of that season to be where he could pop up in this. So, and like the last Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, there was that one scene where they were fighting the Statue of Liberty, and Spider-Man's fighting some villains, or Peter Parker, well, I guess they're all Peter Parker. Tom Holland's Peter Parker was fighting. You could tell like they had edited out the other Spider-Man, or at least one of them. And I think there's a scene in this trailer where he's fighting some potential villains, and it looks like, just based on where the camera is, the angle of it, like there's clearly another person there fighting with him. And if it was the Hulk, they would have shown the Hulk. So a feeling it's Daredevil. But
do you have high hopes for this movie? Expectations, are they pretty high for you?
Yeah, I think with the groundedness of this one, and then Destin Daniel Cretton, who's directing this, who did Shang-Chi, I have high hopes. So yeah, I'm excited for it. And that's only, I got to get my tickets. I mean, we're only a month and a half away. So
exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Get it.
Switching topics here a little bit. I just saw this come through today. Figured we'd share, but apparently, according to The Hollywood Reporter, the How the Grinch Stole Christmas is getting a sequel. Jim Carrey is in talks to return, and then Ron Howard, who directed the first one, is set to direct.
Crazy. It took me so long to sit down and enjoy this film, right? Because we grew up on this movie came out like early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
It was right around 2000, yeah.
So like growing up with us, if you guys didn't know anything about Ellie and I or our family watching Christmas movies, we stuck to the basics, right? We liked watching the old classic cartoon Grinch. And that's still one of my favorites. I have come to really enjoy the Jim Carrey Grinch. Just with the one-liners. I think our sister and I send each other gifts and clips from that movie all the time now, and I think it's as you get older, it's a little bit funnier than when we were kids. Because when you're kids, you like what you like, and it's different. That movie is definitely different. But I mean, I'll be honest, I don't even care if this movie is any good. Like,
it's just another Christmas movie, right? Add to the list.
You got to add it to the arsenal. Get it in there. I'm excited. I think this would be. I don't care if it's bad.
Yeah, and I'm genuinely curious what the story will be, because just like the first live action and just like the cartoon, the story is a story. It's from the book. So I don't know. I could see it though being like the Grinch is like, in retirement, and some kid or something is, I don't know. The classic like has to get the Grinch off the bed, out of his cave to come save Christmas or something, because the new villain is trying to take away Christmas just like he did originally. So
that's not a bad idea. I mean, I was thinking also, just kind of off the top of the head, Cindy Lou Who got older. She grew up, right? And people kind of maybe forgot what that moment was like at the end of the first movie, about like the Grinch actually not being a horrible person and not wanting to steal their Christmas. And people kind of just like went back to their old ways. And it's about, probably like another kid who's going to have to get him. Maybe it's her daughter or son, something like that, like a family thing where they have to get him back. He doesn't want to steal Christmas, but they want to get him back involved with Christmas. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But again, I don't care. I don't care either. Because Jim Carrey's a Grinch. Like, I can't wait for all the one-liners he's probably going to throw.
We're going to get a whole new set of them, which is going to be awesome.
They're going to have a new Max. I don't know if Max made the 25 years or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, no, probably not. I am curious Max too, like with Jim Carrey and the makeup and everything, because one of the big stories out of the movie was like he hated it so much trying to put this makeup on every single day, because it was hours and hours and hours of prep to film for maybe a couple hours, and then have to do it all over again the next day. So
Well, you don't
I'm
want
sure at this point they might do some CGI with it, but they're going to
Sure.
they would have to do some practical. I mean, that's part of the charm of the original.
Sure. I mean,
and
again,
that's,
it's been 25 years, almost 25 years plus. I'm sure they can come up with more better ways. We don't have to worry about doing that. One other thing, is there anything else you want to touch on? I got a couple other things I wanted to just
no,
quickly mention.
those are the main stories I have for this week.
Two more things from me quickly. Looks like the Duffer brothers are going to write and direct a new film that will release in theaters on November 3rd of 2028. Now, I know it's a ways away, more than 2 years, but interesting to see them trying to get back out there after Stranger Things ended. The first few seasons were just, I mean, peak television, peak whatever you want out of a TV show. Then obviously the last season, it struggled a bit to kind of find its way.
Yeah,
the kids got older. You kind of were struggling with plot points, plot lines, things like that. So I'm interested to see what kind of movie, if they kind of stray away from the sci-fi, if they try to get into like a drama-based movie or a comedy, or they just kind of go back to, what they're good at, and that's the sci-fi.
Yeah, and they have not directed any films aside from I'm looking this up as we speak, a very small film from 2015. It was their feature film debut. It's called Hidden with Alexander Skarsgård and some other people. But again, haven't heard of it. And then aside from that, I mean, it's been Stranger Things. So that's been their main focus the last, 8-9 years. So yeah, I am curious. It'll be interesting. I hope they get back to those, sci-fi roots. And again, they're not trying to build out more seasons of a show where you have to adapt to, the ages of the actors and, trying to create new story plots, story points, just because of a show being so popular, you create more and more seasons of it. So if they just are making one movie and focusing on just that, I think, I have some decent expectations for it.
Yeah, me too. And then one final thing, I saw this, and it's not a big story, but I wanted to throw it out there and you'll know when I say it. Peter Serafinowicz, I don't know if I pronounce it right, Peter Serafinowicz has been cast as Peeves, the poltergeist in the Harry Potter TV series.
Yeah, you sent me this earlier this week. He's an English actor, a comedian, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think of what I've seen him in aside from he was in Parks and Rec in one of the later seasons.
He's got a very recognizable face.
Yes, and his voice is very recognizable, which I'm assuming with this he'll just be playing the voice, like it's going to be all animated or CGI.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome because growing up, right, you read the books, and I don't believe Peeves was in any of the movies. I don't think he was even in the first movie.
Peeves he was let up.
Yeah. He played such an integral role in the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone video game.
I was just going to say the video game is where I remember him more than the actual book.
I remember we would always take turns playing, and you would go around trying to provoke Peeves, and you called him Peeves, not Peeves.
Yeah. I remember that I can't remember if you were like in a dungeon or something.
Yeah.
But I remember like running around and like hopping around and trying to like, poke him or whatever and try to run from him. Yeah, gosh. Do you remember what his main role was in the books?
It's been so long. I think he's just now we have Harry Potter fans who listen, so they can correct us. And it's been a minute, but I think he's just like the poltergeist that roams the castle. I think he was maybe a former student or something. It's frustrating that I don't know this off the top of the head, but no, it's good because that's the one thing I think that's going to benefit from this series is they're going to be able to really dig deep into the books themselves and really be able to pull more stuff out that the movies just couldn't. Because you're going to, obviously, with the movie, you're limited to hour and a half to 2.5 hours. But with the TV series, you're going to have 8 to 12 episodes, and you can really dig deep and really use a lot of the book. And to have Peeves in there, I mean, Peeves was integral in that first book. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And I looked it up to confirm. He's essentially a pain in the ass poltergeist that is like 1,000 years old. So having this actor, Peter, how do you pronounce his last name?
Serafinowicz.
Yeah, him voicing it, he's gonna nail it. It's gonna be funny.
So
and with this being, a whole season is an entire book, they'll be able to flesh out this a lot more. Like they'll be able to bring a bunch of stuff in that you didn't see in the books or didn't see in the movies, which will be cool. Like I think I plan on reading the first book again before the series comes out, just to get me refreshed on everything that happened.
Oh yeah, it's a good way to get back into the Harry Potter spirit. Maybe even watch the first movie and then get into the book and then get into the show. And now it's exciting Christmas time. And now again, they said he's been cast as Peeves, so who knows if he's even in the first season. Maybe they just released it. Who knows? He could be in the second season of the Chamber of Secrets. But
well, they finished filming this already.
I think so.
I'm assuming.
Wouldn't you
And I mean,
think?
his character, if he's playing this character, it's all gonna be CGI and it's all gonna be like voiceover. So I bet if they filmed it without him, either they filmed it without him and they just had somebody stand in and read the lines, as the students are talking to him, or he's already done it all when they filmed the show. It wasn't
Correct.
news. It wasn't released.
I'm just glad Peeves is getting represented now. It's awesome.
I know.
Pain in the ass poltergeist. It's
Pain in the
beautiful.
ass poltergeist. Yep.
But I think that's it. The only other thing I have is the first look at Commissioner Gordon's mustache in the Batman Part 2. It says it begins again. You know what time it is, and it's just a picture of his mustache.
Should have saved that for next week in case we don't have news on the Batman.
Oh no, I'll find some news about the Batman. I will.
All right.
But yeah, that's all we got for this week.
Yeah, you ready to get into the main review?
Main review time. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So we are reviewing Disclosure Day from director Steven Spielberg. This is a sci-fi drama, not thriller. I would say it's like sci-fi action / drama.
Yeah, I agree with that.
On a budget of about $115 million, it's made about $100 million, and that's as of June 16th, according to boxofficemojo.com. It didn't hit huge over the weekend, but at the same time, it's going to make its budget and some. So hopefully it continues to have some legs here as we get further into June and early July. But a quick synopsis on it. A meteorologist and a cybersecurity expert find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets. So a little bit of background. This was a couple years ago, April of 24. It was reported that Spielberg's next project was going to be a UFO film. I remember hearing about it. Again, that's all we knew, is just it was going to be a UFO film. Then Universal Pictures came into the picture within the next few months, and then Emily Blunt was casted as the lead role. Filming took place, it's actually surprisingly not a lot of time. I think it was only about 3-4 months of filming. John Williams came back to compose the score, which, again, we know John Williams from many things, and he's worked with Spielberg many times, so it was good to see him back. But before we get into before we get into like kind of our reactions, our main cast, so Emily Blunt, like I mentioned, she's the lead. I guess co-lead, but really kind of the lead herself. She plays Margaret Fairchild, the Kansas City meteorologist and former newscaster. And then Josh O'Connor, who we all know, at least I know from the latest Knives Out movie and a couple other things.
Challengers, that's
right. He plays Dr. Daniel Kellner, a cybersecurity expert and whistleblower. And then we have the real, I guess, villain of the movie, and again, this isn't spoiling anything. This is just based on the trailers. Colin Firth is Noah Scanlon, the head of Wardex Corporation, and a couple others are in here. Eve Hewson is Daniel's girlfriend, and then Coleman Domingo, who's one of my favorite actors right now, as Hugo Wakefield. Again, he's like an employee of Wardex, which is what Colin Firth is kind of the head of, and he basically is a turned defector, essentially, of that. But through all that, through the main cast, synopsis, background, budget, all that, what is your initial reactions to this movie?
Initial reactions. It's hard because right after the movie ended, I had strong opinions about it. And then after taking a day or so, we saw this a couple days ago, after taking, sleeping on it, going through some stuff, I critically reviewed it, going through like our scoring system, things like that. I think for me, a bit of I wouldn't say a one-sentence reaction, like a bit of a snooze fest / confusing plot points in acts 1 and 2, followed up by a phenomenal third and final act.
That's fair. I thought there were many good puzzle pieces that did not quite fit together. A lot of good elements in this movie. A lot of, I wouldn't say bad elements. I don't think anything in this movie is bad. I think there's a lot of meh, and I think which that combined with the good elements just makes like an okay result.
It reminds me, if you read that episode of New Girl where Winston is trying to put a puzzle together.
Yeah.
But he's colorblind. And it's just like he thinks he has it, but then like they zoom out and it's like just puzzle pieces like not fitting together. They're all over the place, but then some pieces are perfect, but some pieces aren't. It's kind of how this movie felt.
Yeah. What do you think worked then?
I think a couple things for me stood out. Obviously, I've been doing this for the previous handful of movies we reviewed. I always like to look at the third act as, all right, this is kind of where you hit your point home. You kind of build to you build to what you've been building to the whole entire movie. And I thought they did a tremendous job in that final third act of kind of getting to the whole point and the whole message of the movie. I really, really, really think the acting in this film was nothing short of incredible. I think Emily Blunt was, I mean, one of my favorite roles I think she's ever played. You could just feel the emotion coming from her through the screen. Josh O'Connor was, I mean, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, he's just an up and coming star. Like
Yep.
he is just like, it feels like when you watch Josh O'Connor act, it feels like what a normal person would be feeling in those situations, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like he's trying too hard. It feels just so natural that you could see yourself in his position, everything he's saying, everything he's doing. It's like exactly how you would picture yourself if you were in his position,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, he's a guy who works for a corporation that has a bunch of secrets on extraterrestrial life. And he's like, they're holding this and they're not telling anybody about it. And he's smart enough to hack into his own systems through his job and extract all this data. And he wants to get it out to the public and let the whole world know. And it's exactly like you said, like it's what I mean, a lot of people would just, not say anything, but I think
Sure.
it is
Sure, and
kind
it's
of
just like the chaos of what ensues, and he doesn't honestly, he knows what he wants to do, but it's like, I don't know exactly where to go with this. Like, what am I supposed to do with it? And that's exactly what you would see yourself if something came up to where you were in his shoes. You'd be like acting the same way, like, I don't know what to do this. I have this information. I got to get it out, but what the hell am I supposed to do with it?
right, right.
Not even to touch on Colin Firth played a great pseudo villain. Like he was tremendous. And Coleman Domingo, like you said, I mean, you said it right after the movie ended. He's one of those actors, and I think I touched on it maybe a few weeks ago. He has such a voice where when he's speaking, it's so captivating,
Hmm.
and you're just like your eyes are glued to the screen. It's like how I feel about Paul Giamatti. Like when
Yeah,
Paul Giamatti speaks, like I am so like tuned in and laser focused on every single word that he's saying. And Coleman to me, I mean, just
yeah.
knocked
He
it out of the
makes you
park
just like
again.
stop what you're doing. Like, okay, I
Yes.
better listen to what he's saying.
And then we'll get into it in the spoiler section, but we got to talk about the lady who was the newscaster at the end
Yeah,
of the film.
yeah.
I don't even know who that is,
I think
but she needs
she
to.
was an actual newscaster somewhere, but is turned to actor. I think
Yeah,
is
we'll
the
get into that
story.
in spoilers. But again, another part of what I thought worked was the cast as
Hmm.
a whole in terms of their acting chops, how they portrayed, how they showed the emotion. It really, to me, really came through on the screen. It really
Yeah,
did. It
yeah,
made you feel something. You want to feel something in a movie because, right, we talked about it. You'll see movies where the acting, you're like, God, this is utterly, this is utter trash. But with that cast and those 4 or 5 individuals, I mean, it really did prop up the movie from maybe not so good of a script and storyline to what it ended up being.
yeah, yeah. And I thought what worked as well was like parts of it worked really well.
Mhm.
You had a lot of different elements of classic Spielberg. There was some good action. There's some car chases, some fighting, and then you had. I liked like the classic alien look, and again, you kind of can see it
Oh,
in the
yeah.
trailer. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
spoiling anything, but that classic look of when you think of an alien. And then I think some of the drama in this movie I thought hit really hard, especially in that third
Yeah.
act.
Yep.
But I think, and again, I'll get into what I didn't like, but I thought that worked very well, along with I think just the camera work was really well
Mhm.
done.
Mhm.
There's the one scene, Josh O'Connor's character, where he is trying to like re-infiltrate the like country house that he was staying at, and
Yes.
it was like a one shot essentially. You follow behind him, he goes like around a car, and the camera continues to follow him, continues to follow him. He gets in the car, starts it, backs up and all that, and that's probably like a good couple minutes of just one shot him, along with like some of the car chases, some of the action scenes. The camera work I thought was really good,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
we also had some of those scenes where they like zoomed in on the character's face. I don't know
Yes.
what the specific like film jargon that is. I don't even know if there is any, but just like some scenes where someone said something important, it kind of like zoomed in on their face at an angle. I'm like, oh, that's
Kinda
kind of
like
cool.
kinda like an Alfred Hitchcock type thing, right? Where they
Yeah, I guess so.
really
I'm thinking of like
he
Jimmy
kinda just
Stewart.
yes, like where he really gets on the face to really get you to see the facial expressions, what they're feeling, what they're thinking in that
Hmm.
exact moment. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, and I also agree with you about the acting. I think the script, while kind of clunky at times, I thought the acting by both O'Connor and Emily Blunt really pushed the movie forward in what stood above the script itself. And then what didn't work, what do you think?
I thought about this because we left the theater and we were talking before we left, you and Katie and I, and you guys were kind of touching on some points. And I think I think you guys were ultimately right in what you were saying. There were some plot lines and plot points of there wasn't a lot of like explaining of what exactly was happening or what certain things meant,
Mm-hmm.
right? You knew in the grand scheme of things, this company that he worked for, they were hiding stuff. Colin Firth didn't want it to get out because of what, humanity would deal with it. But I think the whole thing with, and you guys touched on it, and in the moment I was just coming off the high of that last third act where I was like, my God, that was just, it hit me. But the whole thing with I don't know what you want to call it, it's not even a
It's like a
time
glow
burner.
stick, It wasn't a
It's
glow stick, but it was like a
it's like
glow
a
stick.
Yeah, I think that not being fully fleshed out and explained a little bit better about what the purpose of that was and what it does. Obviously, we knew what it did, right? You saw the movie. If you've seen the movie and you were paying attention, you knew exactly what the point of it was. But I wanted a little bit more like background on that, especially like what is it? Where is it from? How do they get it? Why are they using it? What else do they use it for? Right?
Yeah.
And they kind of explain it, and we'll get into when we get
Yeah,
into
we kind of
spoilers.
see it later on, like where those things originate from.
Yes.
But I
And I
think,
think that's maybe Spielberg's point of like, hey, here you go. This is what it is, but not knowing exactly what it does, what its purpose is, other than showing us what he's using it for, I think didn't really hit well. Obviously, there are a couple of just this again, nitpicky things. The CGI with the car by the train, like that looked a little bad, but again, nitpicky type of things for me. And I think if you were able to develop the story more and make us care about what was going on in the first part of it, it would have hit 10 times better at the end. The end hit me, like it emotionally got you, right? It gets you in your feels, it gets you, sitting on the edge of your seat. But the build up to it I felt was a little clunky.
yeah, no,
Just
that's
a little
fair.
clunky. Little
That's fair.
clunky.
Yeah, no, I think Spielberg's goal here, and this is me, again, I could be completely wrong, but I think his goal was not to show like this is a sci-fi movie about aliens and all these, various action scenes where like there were a lot of car chases, a lot more than I thought
Mhm.
there would be, which I don't like hate or anything. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't think it was all about that. I think what he intended for was like the overall messaging of humanity, I don't know, coming together, understanding that not necessarily that we're like not alone, but just having some kind of empathy, some kind of feeling that like everything like that's going on in the world, like beginning of the movie, there's like World War III is about to happen, which we don't know why. Like North Korea is like the whole
And they went
like
away and they went away from it.
yeah, like
They
North Korea
touched
is
on it
like
once.
where nuclear strikes are about to happen, and it's like it doesn't matter because this bigger thing's going on with aliens on Earth,
Sure.
and he wants us to like put all that aside and be like let's come together as a world, you know,
Sure.
to
Sure.
understand empathy and feelings, whatever. But I think with that, like the World War III thing, and there was another scene too that was similar where Emily Blunt's character, Margaret, right? Her and her boyfriend, who's played by Wyatt Russell, who I really like.
Wyatt Russell,
Which again, I think he's a really good actor, but they give him like
yes,
not a ton to do in this movie, which is fine. Like it's a Spielberg movie. It's sort of an ensemble cast, but not that far. And he wasn't really in it that much, or didn't really have an important part, really. Which I don't even know if he needed his character. But they pull up to like a gas station in like a random small town, and it looks like hell's broken loose. Like bunch of people are lined up to get gas. People are running in and out of the store buying food and water and stuff. It's like because they're talking about the news, like the cold, essentially a Cold War. But then you go to a different scene where everything seems normal. Like in Kansas City, they go to like the like broadcasting studio. And yeah, of course they're broadcasting. They're trying to like to show emotion when they're talking about this stuff, but everyone seemed calm and collected. It's like, okay, well, which one is it?
I really liked the scene. I mean, do you want to get into spoilers now?
Yeah, might as well. Let's do it.
I really did like the scene when they're trying to get like they're about they come into the news station and she's like, "Hey, we're doing this now," and then somehow, some way, they were able to get it. I really like the scene with the newscasting in New York when they call New York, like, hey, you need to put this on your thing right now. We're in Kansas City, like, you need to put this on your station. And they kept jumping back and forth to the clips. And the people, the newscasters, the team that's in the back in New York, they had to be like, you could tell they were like feeling something based on what they were seeing, but they had a job to do. And they were still so focused on that. I think that was a really good part of showing like people were like emotionally impacted by it, but they also had to do a job.
Yeah.
So you can't just stop. Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everyone in that control room who's like, they're trying to get this feed in from Josh O'Connor has all this footage, all this UFO footage of humans interacting with aliens, and he's trying to get it. He gets it in the Kansas City, NBC affiliate, whatever it is, and then they're trying to send it out to everybody. Like they're calling New York, like, I know we're on the brink of World War III, but you have to get this stuff out. And so there's just like, it's not panic. It's just like they're so focused on getting this out and doing their jobs that, you don't realize the emotional impact until you have the newscaster who's like kind of talking through what the video people are seeing. And she kind of breaks down a little bit and it's like, oh my gosh, this is insane.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I must have just completely glossed over this whole World War III discussion about what they were feeling in that moment. Cause that didn't register.
There wasn't much to it. That's why I'm like, okay, like
it just didn't register with me. Like,
yeah,
and that was Spielberg's point of like, we don't care about this. Let's focus on the other thing. Yeah, it obviously worked on me because you're talking about it now and it's World War III. Things are happening. And I'm like, I barely even remembered anything about what you're talking about.
Right.
Because I was so laser focused on what the whole main point of what the movie was supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Josh O'Connor's on the run. And again, we've really talked about like their connections with the aliens themselves.
Yeah. So, that was interesting.
So like Emily Blunt's character, like we eventually, God, there's so much to unpack here, but her character has a connection to the aliens that we don't really know about until towards the end. She doesn't have memory of when she was like a 10-year-old, like a specific night. And Josh O'Connor's character as well doesn't have like certain memories. And it's because they were abducted in a way by these aliens. But the aliens kind of present themselves as different animals. So
yeah, because I think they said they want to present themselves as something that's not scary,
not scary, like not a giant great big head gray alien with black eyes. So they present themselves as animals and they kind of lure them to a spot that makes them feel comfortable, I guess. I don't know. And then they reveal themselves. And I don't want to say they got probed, but they kind of got probed where
probed in the brain.
The aliens kind of put like this knowledge or like, what do you call it? Like psychic powers into Emily Blunt's character when she was like a 10-year-old.
It's like psychic abilities and her ability to speak the language and convey that and be able to mind read people and to have the empathy. And they gave Josh O'Connor's character when he was a kid the ability to understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And being able to take, I think it was basically math, and they spoke in math, and he was able to take that code and take that and convert it into the language. So when Emily Blunt's character, I mean, you see it in the trailer where she starts speaking like in a crazy ass, like with a bunch of clicks, like an alien sound, like would sound like. Josh O'Connor's the only one who could actually understand what she's saying.
Yeah, because he thinks it's just English coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, he's like, what are you guys talking about? He goes, here. Oh, yeah, I hear it, but it's just gibberish. I don't know what she's saying. He goes, I can completely hear it. Like, I know exactly what.
Is it assumed that when they both had that happen from the aliens, because in the scene towards the end of the movie, they show them like next to each other?
Yes, I believe.
Did that actually happen? Did they?
I think it did.
Did they happen next to each other, and they just didn't have the memory of it, so they didn't know?
Yes, yeah, that was my interpretation because. But when you see later in the movie when they're in like her mock house, Coleman Domingo's character was basically trying to get them out to get them to understand because he figured out what their two connections were.
Right.
And he's like, you guys need to figure this out. Like, I'm going to bring you two together. And they're in her house trying to recreate.
Right. He put like inside like a warehouse in Kansas City. He rebuilt her childhood home so that when he got her there, which I think she kind of found her way there based on her kind of powers, that she would start to get those memories back and then be able to like figure out what exactly happened and then kind of not end everything, but I don't know, like what I'm trying to understand like what that goal was.
I think it was going back to what you said, like, did it actually happen? I think it did, because you see in that scene when they're both sitting down, they're getting strapped up to use that device, the fane, the pillar, the stone,
wand,
whatever you want to call it, the wand. Yeah. They both grab it at the same time and they both look at each other and say, don't let go. No matter what happens, they say, don't let go. And I think that's probably, and you see it in that scene when they were kids. Now, who knows? My interpretation is they were both in the same room together, and she saw him, Emily Blunt saw Josh O'Connor's character, like, as a kid, like, freaking out, and she, like, reached out to grab his hand and probably told him, just don't let go.
Yeah.
And I think that was that connection, but their memories were so, I don't know if they were wiped or if they just don't remember. They had like a memory
Yeah,
gap.
traumatic events, right, can do that to kids.
Sure. And I think that was the point of getting them connected back together to recreate that specific memory so then they can understand exactly what it was that happened.
Right. Because Emily Blunt's character, Margaret, she didn't know, I mean, she didn't have that memory. And then for the longest time, this like power that she had never like manifested itself until, and once it happened, it was in like the first, like second scene of the movie where she's sitting at her breakfast, the table, breakfast table in her apartment with Wyatt Russell's character. And then a cardinal kind of flies in the window and it like stares at her and she's like staring at it back and she has like this connection. And then it, flies out and then she starts talking in Russian. Like, what the hell? How'd you know Russian?
Wyatt Russell in those little scenes, he was hilarious.
That was a comedic relief. Like, it was nice. Like, some of his comments were, it was just like us. Like, that's exactly what we would do in that situation. Like, since when did you speak Russian? Like, what the hell is going on? And in that instance, that cardinal was an alien, like, showing itself to her.
And maybe it was one of those things where, and this is what I'm like thinking of right now, just as we're talking, maybe the aliens at that point, they knew obviously who she was and who Daniel was, Daniel and Margaret. And they said, you know what, I think it's time that we actually show ourselves to you guys. And it's time you to take the knowledge we gave you 30 years ago and finally put it into action because we are ready for the world to see us.
Right. I wonder if,
and I wonder what Coleman Domingo's character's role in this is, right? He's the one who broke out. He is always saying, like, it's time, the world needs to know it. So it's like, was there a connection with him to any of this? Like, how did he know it was time? That's what I'm trying to put together. That's weird. Where it's like, that's where it leaves the confusion of like, and sometimes I love that in a movie where it's left open to interpretation. It's like, left open to
like Obsession. Like there were some aspects of like the actual obsession curse or whatever you want to call it that just left untold. Like you don't need to know what exactly it's all about. It's just, somebody's obsessed with you because you made a simple wish. Like it's the same thing, I think. Or, like we didn't need to know everything, but I feel like there was too many pieces on the ground for us to pick up where we didn't need to pick up that many pieces.
Correct.
Just like put it together yourself.
That's a very good way of putting it. Instead of them making it seem like a 500-piece puzzle, it was more like a 200-piece puzzle, 250-piece puzzle that didn't need to be 500 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the third act really, really hit it home. And I think the last 30-ish minutes of that movie were fantastic. Like it hit everything you want in a Spielberg film. It kind of gave me, and I touched on this when you and I were leaving the theater, that emotional feeling you got in Signs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When they finally see the alien, Joaquin Phoenix's character, it gives you goosebumps. It kind of gets the hair standing up on the back of your neck. It just gives you like that raw emotion that you felt in that movie. And that's how I kind of felt towards the end of this movie, especially like I said earlier with that newscaster. The way she was able like to convey like her emotion about what she was seeing. I mean, it brought, like, I was getting goosebumps in the movie. Like I had body chills of like just her emotional and raw reaction to what she was seeing, while also her trying to broadcast on live air. Yeah. Right.
I think that was a really good interpretation of what actually would happen in real life if this were the case.
Sure.
But then I think as much as I kind of like the ending, I just didn't like how we're just to assume, like when they were uploading these videos, there was like a quick like 3-second cut of showing like, oh, this is not AI generated. Like we scanned the videos, they're real, they actually happen. It was really quick, and I'm like, even then, like no one's like, a lot of people are still not going to believe this is real,
Oh yeah, of course not.
Like we're all just like, oh my God, we're focused on this moment. It's real, it's happening. We're like, I don't know if it's that believable. But, and then Colin Firth's character kind of at the end, he's giving up.
That's another thing. I was like,
he's like busting them at the end. They came into the studio in Kansas City because they were going to broadcast this thing.
Yeah.
And his team like shut down the power, but they had a backup power. And then his team shut down the backup power. But Emily Blunt's character, because of her like, I don't know, her psychic abilities, was able to turn everything back on.
Well, she had the
Oh, the wand. That's right. Whatever, the branch, whatever.
that was
She was
crazy
able to turn
because
everything back on, and then
Colin Firth's character just like
and
gave
he
up,
just gave up. He's like, you know what? I can't win this battle.
which is
But
crazy because
yeah,
he tried so hard in that film with every little thing he could to make sure none of this got out.
hmm
That like he just like, you know what? I lost.
yeah.
Like
Which, like, yes, he is a bad, like, the villain. Like, he used
he's
that
not a bad. He's
wand
not
to like get into somebody else's mind and make them tell him things, which is obviously illegal and all that. But
sure.
I mean, his goal was like, there's so much this stuff. There's so much stuff here about aliens living on Earth. I don't think human race can handle it, and he's keeping that a secret because he thinks it's best for humanity to just not know. And like, you understand, right? Like, he is the villain, but at the same time, like,
yes.
you understand why he was doing that.
Yeah, I kind of I didn't sympathize with his character in a sense, but I understood what he was trying to accomplish in the sense of, you're right, like he's like, guys, yes, we know there's 75, 79, 73, whatever number was years of this proof. Like if you do what you want to do, like the world's not going to be able to handle it. And I'm curious, they ended the movie with her just kind of, they bring this alien out in a wheelchair like he's, like the Undertaker coming out of
I
his
know, like,
thing,
slightly
like it was
ridiculous, but
like just a little bit of a show there.
it's
And
a
the
very
alien just
Spielberg thing to do. I mean,
yeah,
that's
and it ends, but I think part of me, I mean, it's hard to do, and who knows if there's going to be a second. I don't know if there could be a sequel. Maybe not. Maybe. Who knows? I don't think everyone would be, like you said, I don't think everyone would be that calm.
right.
Like,
Maybe we would because we're in such disbelief. Like, we would
shocked.
just be in shock. Yeah.
Yeah.
She like talks to the alien, right? Or the alien talks to her.
Or the alien like pulls her in and he goes, "Come here, I gotta tell you something." Like,
Yeah.
make me an offer. They're gonna refuse. Like he feels like he's like the alien's like the Godfather guy, like a little towel around his neck, just coming in.
But she gets on the broadcast again and then says, "Listen," and then the screen goes black. Which I get, like, where you've been revealed all this information. Like, let's take a deep breath. Like, we're all in this together. Like, aliens, like these aliens specifically, are harmless people or harmless beings, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's all left up for interpretation, and
yeah, it's one of those things. I wasn't thinking about it as much as I was like the back rooms, where I was thinking about the back rooms for like a week straight. But there are a couple scenes that just made me laugh. Like when we were sitting there and they're showing the footage, and it's like at a base camp, and you see like a bunch of dudes and like 4 aliens just like chilling, just walking into a tent. I was like,
yeah, they're just like just strolling.
It's like, oh, we're gonna go play some cards,
Right.
just hanging out, having a good time. But yeah, that scene he showed his girlfriend, the alien screaming, like, damn, like, I don't know what it is. It felt like an animal in a sense, right? When you see videos, like a lot of people, like for me, it's like you watch a movie, like, I don't care if the main character dies, just don't shoot the dog.
Yeah.
Don't let the dog die. Don't let the bear die. Don't let whatever animal die. And seeing that kind of hit a little bit, like it does bring up some emotion, some empathy, right?
Yeah.
That people have that people don't even think they have.
And I think part of like them showing that too is like these aliens aren't bad beings. They didn't come here to kill us. They didn't come here to dominate the world. They're just like us. They're just from somewhere else. And
sure, and the fact that it shows that they didn't want to reveal themselves, so they try to show you, hey, we're gonna be animals because we know you guys like animals, and animals you see are most of the time harmless. Like as a cardinal, like foxes obviously are a different story. Foxes can't be dangerous.
Also, that fox was horrible. CGI was horrible.
Yeah, that again, another part that I don't think didn't work. But thinking about it, I really want to like the third act. I really, really liked it. I really liked it, and I really like this movie. But after sitting down talking with Katie, we were talking through some of what things that didn't work. There's too many things that were holding it back. I think this movie could have been one of Spielberg's best if they struck the right chords, right? Yeah. If they hit the right notes. But
it could have been a combination of a bunch of his movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't quite hit like I thought it would. And I remember even seeing the first trailer for this movie where like Emily Blunt is, up there and doing the telecast and then starts talking like an alien. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because like at the time I'm like, is she an alien? Is like an alien taking over her body? Yes. All this stuff. And it was completely different than what I thought, but I had more, I don't know, higher expectations for it. But again,
well, they never like, I kind of get the touch on it before we get into our scores, like her ability to like know every single person's thoughts.
Right. That was part of her psychic ability. Yeah.
Is that part, like the psychic ability she had, is that her, with her empathy, right? Being able, because when she was talking to all these different people, one of the workers at the news station, she goes, call the police. Like, you need to call the police. Apparently, she probably had an abusive partner. And it's like she was talking to him, and she talked to one guy about, she ended up changing faces to an old guy and saying, like, oh, you were always a son to me. Like, she's hitting these empathetic notes with these people that she sees because she just has it in her brain. And I think, I'm solving it right now on the spot live. That was her showing empathy, that she has the empathy the aliens are trying to show her. Like, this is what empathy needs to be for you guys when we show ourselves. Right. So it's like little bits and pieces, I think in a second watch.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this is definitely
streaming,
a watch again.
Yes.
See if your mind changes. See if you can put some things together a little bit. Yeah.
And I think that, we'll get into scores here in a second. I think that could potentially bump my score up a few points just based on having these discussions. Because again, it's like we're seeing these movies, on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and we're trying to give you guys the best score we can based on what we saw the first time. Things change. Like, you watch a movie, like a couple people I follow that do movie rankings. I think last year, one of the guys, I think it was Jeff D'Lo, had Marty Supreme as his favorite movie the entire season once he saw it. And then he went and did a couple rewatches of some of his top films, and he ended up bumping Sinners up past it for number one of the year.
Yeah.
So like these things happen. You can see a movie the second time. You'll catch some Easter eggs that maybe you didn't catch in the first watch. You'll catch things on that you didn't see in the first part of the movie. Like, oh, that makes sense now. Now having seen it, I can actually understand part of why they did it this way or this way. So I'm excited when that comes to streaming. I will definitely have to throw that on a night where let's just like no distractions, put it on again and see what you think. But
yep.
Do you want to get into... All right, so before we get into scores, would you say this is a watch now, watch later, watch never? I know we kind of are toying with this idea of if we want to keep this in the pod.
I would say watch later. Although I really do think, and again, we probably say this with most movies we're going to watch and review, like go see it in the theater just because we love going to the theaters and the experience of, like, especially Spielberg, like one of the best best directors of all time. If you can see one of his movies while he's still around, I mean, he's 80 years old now, like he's getting up there. So while he's still making these great, blockbuster movies, go see it in the theater. Yep. But if we're taking him out of it, which obviously you can't, but if in terms of just overall movie, I would just wait to watch this until it comes out on streaming. Yeah, there's too many other other movies coming out around this time that are probably worth going to the theater for. And if you don't want to go to the theater too often, or don't want to spend the money to go $20 to see a movie, then don't spend the money on this right now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into scores.
Yep. Final verdict.
So primary category, like we always talked about, we have our two primary categories out of 25 points: story and script, and characters and acting. Elliot, what did you give your story and script?
Story and script, I gave a 21 out of 25. And then characters and acting, I gave it a 20. So again, I think that's more the characters than it is the acting. I thought the acting was really good, but some of the characters, I just, like Coleman Domingo's character, as much as I love him as an actor, and he did a fantastic job in this movie, I didn't really know if he was necessary to the plot. And Josh O'Connor's girlfriend in this movie, she was a former nun, and that was like more the faith. That was more like focused on like the faith part of everything. Like, if there were aliens to come to Earth, would you still have faith in God? And yes, I think most people would. It's just you see it in a different light. And I didn't know if I didn't really love her character.
I don't think that was. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that character was maybe necessary. But
so that was a 20. So what did you have for those two categories?
Story and script, I actually gave it a little bit less than you. I gave it a 19. Like I said, for all the things that we touched on, I think the stuff, the plot points, the plot holes that we were still trying to figure out, the lack of understanding and explaining of certain things, I think hurt it a little bit. Characters and acting, I did give a little bit higher. I gave it a 22. I really thought, again, for me, you kind of look at it in two lenses. Like, all right, look at the characters and then look at the acting. And like you said, a couple of the characters, like Coleman Domingo, was excellent. Was his character necessary? Probably, but maybe in a more expanded role of them actually explaining about his character more. And I was like, his girlfriend, I don't know if she was a huge factor. Wyatt Russell was kind of, I wouldn't say pointless, but it wasn't really there. But I think the acting of Blunt, O'Connor, Firth, and Domingo.
We didn't talk about Colin Firth that much. He was really good too.
The way he speaks, like when she walked in the room and he said "Hello, Jane" in his voice, it just like, damn.
Yeah.
Colin Firth just hits. He has like voice. It's instantly recognizable. And I think for me that their acting outweighed my negatives of the characters, which is why I gave it a little bit higher of a 22.
Okay. All right. Secondary categories. We have 5. Direction and execution. Out of 10, I gave it a 7. What'd you give it?
I had it 1 point higher. I had it an 8.
Okay.
I think Spielberg really executed and directed what he wanted. Was it what we wanted? No. I think looking at the grand scheme of things, did he execute it how he wanted to? And I think, again, I keep mentioning the third act. I think it really executed the whole point of the movie. It was a little bit of a clunky ride. It kind of was like that the train scene with the car. It's kind of a bit of a clunky ride to the ending, but I think you got where he wanted it to get to. So I gave it a little bit higher. I gave it an 8.
Entertainment value. What'd you give it out of 10?
You're going to see a theme here. 8.
8? Okay. I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I thought at times it dragged a little bit. And again, it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, which again, it's a Spielberg movie. It's a blockbuster. It's a big sci-fi. It's going to be a longer movie, which is fine. I just thought it dragged a little bit and I did not get as much value out of it and did not enjoy it as much as that warranted for me. So I gave it a 7.
I gave it an 8 just because I think if you really like these sci-fi drama thriller type movies, not specific like super sci-fi, it's not like, aliens are the big part of it, but they're not really in it. I think if you like these type of movies, I really think the third act would have hit for a lot of people. So I think it's hard giving to Spielberg anything less than an 8 with any of his movies that he does because they're all so entertaining, but it didn't hit like his, his top movies. So fair. 8 for me.
Next category, originality and creativity. I gave it a 7. What about you?
You'll notice a theme.
8? Oh my God. It's going to be an 8? Yeah. I mean, we've discussed this already. It's original in a way that just how the aliens present themselves to the human race.
Yeah.
But again, it's nothing new in terms of aliens are on Earth. How are we going to deal with it? How is the human race going to respond? Emotional impact. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I think what saved it a lot, again, I'm saying what saved it, was that third act, especially towards the end when they're revealing everything on the news. Like that bumped it for me. I think I was like at a 5. Again, I didn't really
Okay.
I don't know. It didn't connect with me as much, but at the end, yeah, I was kind of getting the same thing. I was like kind of getting a little chills a little bit. Like this newscaster is like how we would all react if this happened in real life.
Yeah, the first act and a half, it didn't really get me going to anything. Getting to the end, it hit me so hard. Like I had body chills when, you're seeing this footage, you're seeing the raw emotion from the newscaster, from the control room, from all these news sites. I gave it a 9.
Okay.
I gave it a 9. I think, and again, the third act really hit me. And I think that fact alone of kind of understanding, like, I think we would all be feeling the same way. Like if we saw this footage, I think it's one of those things, right? It's like, you watch all these TV shows when people were huddled up around the TV. You saw it like in Mad Men, especially when the first man on the moon, right? Everyone is huddled around the TV. Everyone's watching. No one's talking. You couldn't hear a peep from anybody. Like they showed it a couple times when people were in their cars just on their phones. People were on the subway on their phones. I feel like that's exactly how, truly, if you were home, I feel like that's how we would be, right? You're not going to be on the phone running around calling people, freaking out. Wherever you are, you're just going to be sitting there glued to the TV, just watching and feeling and just having this raw emotion of what you're seeing is like, holy shit. Like, and I think that's what got me. So I gave it a 9.
That's fair. Agree to disagree, but I think we have the same emotions in that point, but I just thought it wasn't enough for the entire film.
It didn't give you enough to get it up higher. I got you.
And then lastly, personal bias and enjoyment, I gave it a 7. Similar to entertainment value, but in terms of my personal enjoyment, I love sci-fi movies. I love alien movies. And again, this wasn't like really an alien movie. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. So I gave it a 7, a little lower than I wanted, but I think that was accurate for me.
A shocker.
8? Is it an 8?
8.
Can I guess? Okay.
8.
So, out of 100, what is your rating of this movie?
Based on if my math is correct, 82 out of 100.
Okay. And I gave it a 75.
Yikes. Wow, that's a lot.
My lowest one. One of my lower ones, it might be my lowest one of the year, which...
That's crazy.
It's not super low. 75 is still good.
No, I know, but In the Gray got 6 or 7 points higher than that.
Yeah, I might have to reassess that. I would say this movie is definitely... Again, this movie is better quality movie than In the Gray.
Sure.
I think I enjoyed In the Gray more. And maybe some of these points in the secondary categories
Mhm.
for In the Gray were a lot higher than Disclosure Day. So it kind of
82 and 75. So kind of our first difference. We've talked
Yeah.
about how we have very similar taste with movies. So it seems like our first little bit of a difference. 7-point difference, touchdown difference between you and I on this one. So
Yep. And that's Disclosure Day. Steven Spielberg. Fun movie. Quality movie, but not my favorite. Not the best.
That's fair. So that score, I wonder how much that score is going to jump for you on a second rewatch. I feel like that
It
could
might.
jump. I feel like that could jump like 5 or 6 points, just based on how we were talking. So I'm curious. You'll have to let us. You'll have to let the fans know.
Yeah. No. If it changes, I'll post and I'll get into it. What's on my mind. But if I like have a revelation or something, I'll make sure to post about it.
Sure.
Which leads us into last segment of the program. What's on our minds?
What is up?
So, Eric, what's been going on with you?
Oh gosh, a lot. So last weekend, Katie and I got our engagement photos done. We did that on Sunday. Rain held off right until the
I was
very
going to say it
beginning
rained a
of our
lot on
stuff.
Sunday.
Yeah, so the first part of our photo shoot we did, it was kind of windy, blustery. It wasn't really raining, it was sprinkling a little bit, and then the sun came out, so it ended up being a really nice evening. So we did that, but honestly, been watching Andor. I think I have I told you I think I'm doing an episode every other day. So
I was
I'm
going
on
to say,
episode
I
8.
feel like
I'm getting
every
into
week you're like, I'm one step closer to finishing Andor.
Yeah. So I'm on the point now where Cassian and Willman are on Gorman, and they're trying to kill Dedra. So it's starting to get to it's starting to get to the good stuff. So I'm on that. We watched the Stanley Cup. I'm glad to see Vegas go down. Couldn't be happier for another organization to lose. I'm
happier that they lost than Carolina won.
Carolina winning.
Especially because
like
Carolina's
divisional opponent. Like I wasn't like outwardly like I'm not going to buy like Kane Stanley Cup gear. Like no, that's not what we're doing. But it was good to see. And I said this before the playoffs started. I said if there was a year for Carolina to do it, this was the year because the East was super down.
Mm-hmm.
The West had like 3 teams in Dallas, Colorado, and Minnesota, and those 3 teams beat each other up because they were all playing each other. And I thought Carolina, this was the year, and it just goes to show you that coaching and actually like sticking to a game plan, you don't need to have all the top end talent in the world. You just need to follow a coach, follow a game plan, and play the same way as a team.
And you don't even have to have like the best goaltending either.
I mean, we can even get, that's a whole nother segment we can get into about Carolina's backup goalie. The dude was working at Chipotle during COVID as a part-time job.
He's an undrafted goalie who's a rookie, right?
Gets thrusted, rookie gets thrusted into game 2 or game 3 and wins the Stanley Cup.
And I mean, he shuts out Vegas in game 6, which is incredible to win the Stanley Cup.
So, and then right now, I mean, this has been a great summer. We had a great Stanley Cup final. The Knicks finally won a title since 1973. So you got that, but then World Cup right now, World Cup going on, U.S. Open this weekend. Like it is everything you would want in a sports week.
Mm-hmm.
And for all the people who are complaining about the World Cup going to 48 teams, I
felt the same way. Now I'm like, this is incredible.
Bangers. I mean, Cape Verde tying Spain. Like, what? Portugal tying Congo. Like, it's the quality of the games you're watching, of some of these players that you don't know about, that you've never seen before, some of these countries who've never been to the World Cup. It's awesome to see. The atmospheres look absolutely incredible. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, the atmospheres in the United States and Mexico and Canada are not going to be that great, especially the United States. But I mean, go back and watch some of these. I mean, these stadiums are packed. The crowds are insane.
Yeah.
USA looked really good in their opener against Paraguay. They play tomorrow against Australia. So I think the goal for, not to get into a soccer podcast here, but I think the goal for us is at least, I think, to get to the round of 16. I think we finally have enough top end talent and a lot of depth. It's been exciting, just watching it, soccer on like literally every day. Like it's awesome. And it's going to lead us right into the end of July. And then by that point, it's almost football season. So
yeah, preseason football. I mean, the Hall of Fame game will be coming up, and then preseason football, and then
so that's what I've been watching. It's been awesome. U.S. Open has been, I mean, you can't get any better than that. So that's about it. That's all I've been watching, is literally just been sports and Andor.
Yeah. So I won't go too much into sports since we just kind of covered it, but yeah, it's been a lot of sports in the last week. So watching a lot of World Cup. I think I've watched more World Cup this year than I did most of the last World Cup, which was in December, which the time college football was going on.
That was hard.
So there's a lot of other stuff to focus on. NFL, it was like right in the heart of NFL season. But this being at the time it is, I've been so really focused on it and really enjoying it. like you mentioned, Stanley Cup playoffs just ended. NBA Finals just ended.
Yep.
Those are two really good playoff runs for both the Carolina Hurricanes and New York Knicks.
Yep.
A lot of fun to watch. Good to see Vegas lose for various reasons, but good to see them lose. Then U.S. Open just started up, so been watching that, or I guess watched a little bit of it today. And
makes you want to get on the golf course and hit some
as you can
balls
see by
around
my
it.
hat, U.S. Open 2025 was at Oakmont. We went to that last year. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a blast.
So to see these guys struggle at a different course is hilarious.
It's insane.
So the last thing I want to talk about before we go, been thinking about like more features or more elements to bring to our podcast. So as you can tell, when we post this, at least on YouTube, you'll be able to see our faces. This is all on video. Currently on Apple or Spotify, we're just publishing, and all the other podcast platforms, we're just publishing as audio. I think we can definitely publish with video on Spotify, but it's a little separate process, and I don't know if we want to do that right now. But YouTube, our latest episode 7, is up on there with video, so you can look at that. But thinking about doing more YouTube shorts, so I posted one already. It's not like our best short. The kind of platform we use to record and everything can create 30-second, 60-second, 90-second shorts that you can just upload right to YouTube, upload to TikTok, Instagram Reels. So the one we posted on YouTube, again, I think it was talking about like going to see Obsession, like go see it now because we liked it that much. It's already I posted it and it had like 1,000 views in one day. So
let's go.
Again, like that's kind of like where the money is made right now, so to speak. It's like the YouTube Shorts, the Insta Reels and the TikTok. So we're going to be posting more on that of our faces, like just 30-second, 60-second clips of whatever we can pull out of these podcasts.
We're going to try to do more, we want to do more quick little 30-second shorts right after we see a movie that we're going to be reviewing.
Yes, like right like in the theater, like real quick, like our initial thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to start doing that. We want to get our face out there more, just trying to get us to more platforms, get us more visibility, get it out there so people can start listening and watching, and we can get our lovely faces and voices out there for the masses. So
yeah, I mean, we want to extend our outreach, and podcasts, like audio only podcasts are still a thing, but people now want to see video with podcasts. Insta Reels, TikTok's like something that's really quick that people can just kind of swipe through. So if we can get something with some, it's not, I'm going to say some attitude, but like some actual influence and like strong opinions, like if we can get that across in a quickly manner, then I think we can extend that to a little bit more.
Maybe some side episodes too, some like Marvel focused ones.
Yeah. So this is a big thing I really want to look at, is for these Marvel movies that come out or like Marvel TV shows, just creating like a side podcast, not even a side podcast, just like recording for at most 30 minutes and just chatting about like what's going on in the Marvel world, because that's like my bread and butter. That's what I love talking about. That's what I like love watching. So creating something where I can talk about like what's the latest news in the Marvel world, like what's the movie that just came out or the TV show that's coming out, what's going on with that. So
what you're saying is I need to create a side episode for the Batman. Just straight Batman talk for 30 minutes.
Just gather all the Batman news every week, or just do like once a month and just like break it down.
Break down the Batman movies scene by scene. All right, you see here. Yeah, it'd be funny. Other than that, just want to do a quick shout out to our sisters. We are recording on her birthday.
Happy birthday.
We're looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Yeah.
So we will not give your age away. We wouldn't do that to you, but you don't look your age. We'll just say that.
She's 75.
So happy birthday, sis.
You ready to wrap this thing up?
Ready to go.
All right. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of Brothers and Blockbusters. If you enjoyed the episode, please follow the show. Leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help more than you think. The more reviews we get, it means more exposure to us around the internet. So keep giving reviews. Share it with everybody you know, your friends, your family, your enemies. If you want to reach out to us, you can. So we have like a million ways now for you to reach out to us. You can send us an email at brothersandblockbusters@gmail.com. You can go to our Instagram page, which is Blockbuster Brothers. Also within our Instagram page, we have a bunch of links, including our YouTube. So Brothers and Blockbusters YouTube. Also with the website, the recording studio that we use is Riverside. We have like a website that's built into that. So you can go to that website and sign up for alerts anytime we post anything. So there's a billion different ways you can come in contact with us or know when we release episodes. So please reach out. We want to interact with people. I know we don't have too many listeners right now, but we're trying to grow this thing as much as we can. And we're always willing to talk to people and get our ideas out there. So
Yeah, we really started this because we're super passionate about this. We've talked about this for, like you said, we've talked about this for a long time. We love watching movies. We love talking about movies, and we love connecting with people who, love movies, have different opinions than us, have the same opinions than us, of us in certain movies. So we just really wanted to get this out there. We want to grow this as best we can, just to get our voices out there because we're super passionate about it. It's something that really hits home for us. So
Yeah, and we're just like everybody else, right? Like we don't know a ton about movies. Like we love movies. We love going to see movies. But we're, we never went to film school. We're not, professional writers. Like we're just, your average Joes. It's kind of like our slogan, right? Like we're the guys who like love movies. We know, we see what happens in the news. We want to, share that with everybody. So we're really down to earth. So please reach out to us.
So next week we are reviewing the latest installment in the Toy Story franchise, Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
Excited for this one. Should be good. So.
Yep. I mean, it's hard to mess up Toy Story, so excited to see what, heartstrings they pull on this one.
Oh yeah, they're going to be some heartstrings pulled, so we'll see. But anyway, thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you next week.
See ya.